one another in theory, but most of us pooled our resources in a set of chambers that was more like a club than a shared office. The downside was that what affected one of us in chambers could affect us all. Each set had clerks who ran the barristers like benign and cocky gangmasters, allocating cases and work as they saw fit. Cross the clerks, and I would end up on an endless run of first appearances in magistrates' courts across the southeast, instead of pursuing the nice little practice that had me at the Bailey on a Monday morning. I had been doing this job for 7 years, after a law degree and a year at bar school and another year as a pupil, and I was finally starting to feel I was getting the hang of it. My income still varied widely, and most of the time, if I worked it out, what I earned wasn't close to the minimum wage. But I loved it. It was worthwhile and challenging and sometimes even inspiring. And I liked it when I won. What was it? A breakup? I pushed his coffee across the table and sat down. Yes, but not mine. My best friend's boyfriend of 3 years walked out on her. Is that right, eh? Sarcasm coated the words. And the solution was red wine? Among other things. Haven't you learnt not to mix your drinks? You'd think, I said ruefully. But I really will be okay in court. Of course you will. He twinkled at me, his eyes bright with amusement. Tried hair the dog? No, and I'm not going to. I'm never drinking again. That made him chuckle, and we drank our coffee in perfect amity. It was Hyde's routine to head to the cafe in the mornings, and a steady stream of lawyers came to pay court to him. In between interruptions, I made sure I knew exactly what Hyde wanted to achieve for his client that morning. It was a pre-trial hearing, completely routine, where a man was going to plead not guilty to attempting murder. A sex game gone wrong, according to him. Long minutes of strangulation, according to the prosecution, who had the medical evidence of bruises and broken blood vessels to back it up. I'd met him and looked into his wide, honest eyes and heard the ring of sincerity in his voice, and we had evidence from a dating website of his girlfriend's stated sexual preferences that included breath play and bondage. A post-sex argument, a false accusation of violence to get revenge. It happened. But did it happen in this case? My best friend Adele had slurred at 2 a.m, and I'd shrugged. His story is that it did. The evidence doesn't contradict him. But he hurt her. With her consent, he says. You can't know that for sure. The point is that the prosecution can't prove otherwise. Adele poured another slug of wine into her glass, spilling some over the side. Whoops. I don't know how you can live with yourself, telling lies for these bastards. People who weren't barristers worried a lot more about innocent and guilty than we did. We separated ourselves from questions of morality because we had to. Everyone deserved a decent defence or justice couldn't be done. We took the work that was offered to us without demur because that was the cab rank rule. We generally didn't pick and choose cases that suited our personal tastes or morality. We were professional and polite and did our best, and most of us quickly got used to it. The system worked for everyone, or it worked for no one. I don't know it's a lie, I'd said patiently. That's up to the jury to decide. I presume he's not guilty unless he actually tells me he did it, at which point I have to advise him to plead guilty. Until then, he's entitled to the best defence he can get. If he still gets convicted, then at least I know I tested the prosecution case. And if he did it, but you persuade the jury he didn't, then the prosecution didn't do their job properly, and I did. There are times, Adele said blurrily, that you don't sound anything like yourself anymore. Ouch. It's just part of the job, I said. You have to put some distance between yourself and the work, or you'd go mad. I don't mean, Adele said, work. I mean everything.